Hey.
Hello. Anybody that was there before, we're back.
Yeah, we are. Just had a tiny technical hitch because we thought we'd try something new. Why not? You know, always trying it. If you haven't joined us before, we're in week 19 of a 20-week program of virtual wine tastings brought to you by Helen here.
Hello.
And myself from the Farm Shed East Coast Wine Centre in Tasmania. We started at the southern end of the region and we've been working our way up the coast. So we started down near Port Arthur, near Tasman Peninsula, for those that haven't been here. And then we worked our way up past Freycinet and Wineglass Bay and Swansea. And we've been in the heart of the region for the last couple of weeks here in Bicheno, which is near Apsley Gorge National Park. We're heading up to the Bay of Fires, but on the way we're doing a stopover tonight at Iron House. So that's the vineyard we're doing tonight. I might start telling you about it. What do you think, Els?
Yeah, you don't want to wait for a few more people to join us?
Well, there we go. Yeah, I think we better go. Let's get going.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've got a little story about this place.
Right.
That'll be a surprise to everyone who's heard us before. So back in the 1970s, and even in the 1980s, I remember, Hells, I went around to Coles Bay and Wineglass Bay and Freycinet Peninsula, and the road down there was corrugated dirt, shocker of a road.
Yeah.
Well,
a lot of people will remember the old road down to Coles Bay.
Absolutely. 8-lane highway now, virtually. Anyway.
Hi Epicurean, hi Jolene.
A little bit before that, in the 1970s, there wasn't actually a bitumen road from Bicheno up the coast. In those days, there was just a dirt track. So what you had to do to get to where we're going tonight was to go up to St Mary's, up in the mountains, and then come back down to the coast. And although it's only 40 minutes north of Bicheno, it was quite a hike to get there. Well, back in those days, with that terrible dirt track, a family named the Orlicks owned a property up there. And over the years, they gradually developed a little bit of accommodation there. Now, people thought they were crazy because, you know, there was nothing there was only the dirt road. You had to go all the way to St Mary's to get there. But it turns out they were visionaries. They originally called it the Cray Drop Inn, which some of us will remember. But they could see the future appeal of the East Coast. And in fact, these days, the East Coast has the fastest growing visitor rate of anywhere in the state of Tasmania. So they might have thought they were crazy, but it turns out they were very, very much visionaries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like to think we might be definitely a bit crazy. Anyway, John White is the owner now. He bought it in 2003. Some of you will know that he and his son often have their names with quite a profile during the Targa Tasmania car racing around Tasmania. Anyway, he's from the northwest.
Just to say, John White's actually won Targa a number of times, now I think he's sort of retired out of that, but his son does do a bit of racing and etc. But John and his wife are still around at Iron House quite a bit and overseeing it, but it is being managed by his daughter and son-in-law, I think. Indeed.
Anyway, when he bought it in 2003, he immediately established a boutique brewery. It was the second one in the state, Iron House Brewery. And in 2009, so that's how they established their name with the beer. In 2009, he planted grapevines, and these days he has a vision to become hopefully one of the biggest vineyards in the state. Since then, they've added gin and vodka about 4 years ago, then whiskey and brandy and ginger beer, and have a sensationally redeveloped tasting room up there. So when you're on the coast with us, it's certainly a great spot and
I think
great setting, isn't it?
I think they've got some rum up there, haven't they?
Oh yeah, they've got rum now too. So they've got
a bit of brandy.
Yeah, something for everyone.
They're pretty prolific up there at Iron House.
They are. So it's about 36 hectares. It's one of the bigger vineyards already, and they get about 60 to 100 tonne of grapes a year. The winemaker is Tas Vintners. Now, that used to be Winemaking Tasmania, changed hands, changed names. So it's one of the contract setups down near Hobart. And I think I told you last week that it was really rocky soil. Lots of jokes about needing dynamite to make the holes in the ground and for the vines to go into. And I also promised to tell you why it was called Iron House. Well, the reason it's called Iron House is because back in the shingles days, when iron was first invented, the very first little cottage in the whole region to be built with a tin roof was built on this point. So hence Iron House Point, hence Iron House Vineyards.
And there's a good surf break on the point, and it's the most fabulous siting for accommodation and for a function centre. So if you're ever driving the Tas Highway up and down the Great Eastern Coast, stop into Iron House because it's just an amazing site, if nothing else. But there's plenty to do there as well.
Absolutely. I think it's time we tasted some wine. And yes, Jolene, I think you're right. And we're doing the Sauv Blanc tonight from Iron House.
So it's a 2018 Sauv Blanc.
It is indeed. They say it's possibly the perfect marriage between the passion fruit zing of Marlborough Sauv Blanc, the deep grassy gooseberry and straw bale notes of a Margaret River Sauv Blanc, and the delicate yet lively profile of an Adelaide Hills Sauv Blanc, while maintaining an exciting individuality. So let's see what we think. It
certainly is. It certainly does have a nose on it like your typical Sauv Blanc. There'll be people out there that don't like Sauv Blancs that probably won't like this because it is pretty... I like a Sauv Blanc, so I'll like it. But there will be people that don't like it because it is quite typical of a Sauvignon Blanc.
It is very Moorish though, isn't it? It's quite fruity, but not sweet.
No, it's not sweet. It is fruity.
Food is an option with this wine, but not compulsory. However, it's always compulsory for us. So we've got a couple of morsels to share with you tonight. Picked up some Maria Island. Just down the coast here, you can go off to Maria Island. It's now one of the most visited national parks in Tasmania.
Quite nice on the other side with a little view of the island.
Yep, there's a little taste of it. So we've picked up some wood-smoked mussels, which I'm going to have here. And I just want to tell you about this little number two. You see this? That there.
That is not bread. That is something else.
No. Savoury brioche. For the Great Eastern Wine Weekend a couple of weeks ago, we did a couple of breakfasts. We did 6 sparkling wines and served some food with it. And these little savoury brioche came from our friends down at Pigeonhole Bakers, another place you must visit when you're here. So
brioche is amazing because it's not bread, it's not sweet like a donut. It's it's a really interesting baked goodie. We love it.
We love it.
And this one is a savoury one, so it's got some herbs through it and some
When we did food, we did boloshki. They were our equivalent to scones. And we did panini. That was our alternative to way back in 2000, our alternative to a toasted sandwich. And this is what J&M says, this is their muffin. So, yeah, they're fantastic. Really delish.
No, the smoked mussels go really interestingly with the Sauv Blanc because they're really smoky. So it's sort of, it really is a contrast to what we're drinking with the Blanc.
They are delicious. They're organic, they're grown and all of those good things. Anyone out there got to say anything to say?
Who makes the wine, Subi? Or where is the wine made, we should say?
Tas Vintners.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were saying that down south.
Well, I reckon let's move right along because we've got another wine to taste yet.
Okay.
And in this case, we've gone for a bit of an unusual grape. We're having a Tempranillo. So The first vintage from Iron House back in 2013 was a Sauv Blanc. They've got 8 varieties now growing on site. They do a lovely little easy drinking wines, you know, a nice Pinot, a nice Chardonnay, lots of different wines from there. But the Tempranillo just caught our imagination, so thought we'd give it a try.
Well, and also because sorry, I just had some sardines on a biscuit, so I'm just going to chew that for a second.
Oh, that's because we're talking about Tempranillo, isn't it?
That's right.
Because it originates in Spain, but is also very heavily planted in Portugal.
Yes.
And whenever
if we wind ourselves back, it must be coming up to 10 years. If we wind back 10 years, actually it's about 11 years, when we first moved to Bicheno and decided to develop a restaurant. And you know, there was something about Bicheno looking out on the granite and the eucalypt trees that that Subi decided was a bit like Portugal. I had never been to Portugal at that time. So because we were doing some development up there, we wanted to do a restaurant and get things happening. We were able to take a little trip to Portugal and to the western part of Spain.
Sorry, Helen, I don't want anyone to think it was a holiday. It was
working.
Work.
It was working. It was very, very much working.
Yeah.
So there we were in on the southern coast and the west of border of Spain, and then into Portugal, and we did a lot of travelling around Portugal. And what we found in Portugal, well, in Spain too, I guess, was we discovered Tempranillo over there. We discovered many things, of course, including grilled sardines. So the grilled sardines, which we haven't actually got today, we've just got tinned sardines. With the Tempranillo, I've decided is a great match. Yeah. So Tempranillo, we did actually have in our Portuguese-inspired modern Australian restaurant, where we looked out on the granite rocks of Bicheno, the eucalypt trees, which is exactly what we found in Portugal. Yeah. So it was a Portuguese influenced restaurant, and it was fabulous while it was there.
So when you say Tempranillo, we think Portugal and granite in all sorts of forms.
But in fact, Tempranillo, just to give you a little idea, if no one's ever heard of the grape, it actually originated in Spain, in the Rioja area. It's known as one of Spain's noble grapes. There's only about a dozen noble grapes in the world, and Tempranillo is one of them. So it's sort of at that high level. Tempranillo, the name comes from a Spanish word called temprana, which equals early, and that's because it's an early ripening grape. So. And which means that it's not ever going to be as heavy a red. It's quite I wouldn't call it light bodied, but certainly an easy drinking mid-weight wine, a little bit like a Sangiovese and some Cabernet Sauvignons. So there's a lot of Tempranillo that's been planted in the world now. It's actually the 4th most planted grape in the world. Australia, and it's been around in Spain since
time immemorial. Since the Phoenicians,
since 1847, I think the first wine was found.
Yeah.
It was imported into Australia about 20 years ago. There's a lot of plantings around the Adelaide Hills, McLaren Vale, Margaret River, and Heathcote, and just starting to be introduced to the Tasmanian vineyard industry. It really requires a sort of a moderate to warm climate, so it really just depends on where it's going to be in Tasmania.
Yep, Tracy, it's easy drinking and it's easy price too.
So they say, people that know more than we do, say that it has some blackberry, some black cherry, some raspberry. So all of those things would mean that it's not very sweet. And then it can finish with a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of clove that gives it a savoury finish. Some people have called it a Pinot Noir on steroids. And the reason why they say that is because it has the fragrance and the perfume of the Pinot, but the sort of flesh colour and tannins of a Pinot Noir. Yeah. So it's a mid-range weighted red wine, and goes with, it's a really versatile red wine, goes with almost anything. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's a Spanish grape, so eat tapas,
quaff away.
Spanish, Portuguese, or just drink.
I mean, last week we did the Rolls Royce, and you couldn't quaff that. It was just, you know, had to sit in your mouth and do its thing. But this is like chat, sip, sip. Yeah, really easy drinking wines, really easy priced wines, very accessible in the Tasmanian range of wines.
There's a lot more of it happening in the Australian vineyards, so you will be able to find it out there, out and about. But there's quite a range of richness to the Tempranillos that are out there. The Iron House, we've got 2 Tempranillos actually. We've got the Iron House and a brink top.
Yeah, we've got a brink top in our one little cube that's out of area, but for good reason. So they're at 250 metres out of our area. They're old friends and they make some fantastic wines. So every now and then we'll feature different people like that who we've been fortunate enough to know and come across in our hard life here.
So what do you think about it with the sardines here, Subi?
All right, I better give that a go because I think it's going to be a lovely combination. I really do.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah. If you close your eyes, you just go back there, don't you? To a little bar in Portugal.
It's a really nice colour, isn't it? It's not hugely. Let's see if we can get it up there. No, you just see more of my hand, really, don't you? Which we don't need to see. All right, it's a rich colour, but it's not too deep. It's kind
of elegant simplicity, I think.
Yeah, I like it. I like the nose. Yeah. It's not too strong. What happened to the boat shed, Jolene wants to know, Subi?
Yes, just arrived yesterday, Jolene. It was really exciting. Haven't opened it yet, but just had to read the notes and Yeah, we are very excited about the boat shed.
Yeah. If anybody wants to know what on earth we're talking about with boat shed, it's
just Google cheese therapy.
It's the cheese that Subi is getting every now and again, and now Jolene is getting every now and again. And this week's cheese was from the boat shed, which is on the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria.
A couple of passionate cheese eaters in Victoria set themselves up to support small artisan cheesemakers, and also to make it possible for people outside of the major cities to get good cheese. So Jolene and I have discovered them online. We're ordering away. You can get some Tasmanian cheeses through them, but also a whole lot of others. So there was a call out to support Boat Shed, very small artisan makers. Everyone's having a bit of a hard time with COVID. So the call out went out, and that people must have responded really well because we all had to wait for the cheese. They had to make some more because they ran out.
And just so that you know that we're balancing this all out, because we do like to showcase the Tasmanian small producers and product when we do these little tastings. A few weeks ago, I sent a nice little cheese package from the Bruny Island Cheese Company to my cousin in Melbourne, while they were in the middle of lockdown. So she got the Bruny Island cheese, we got the Boat Shed cheese from the Mornington Peninsula. So it's all about sort of, what goes around comes around, and people just having a nice time and helping each other out.
Absolutely. Got to do a bit more of that. In fact, we might be a bit glazed over this week because we've just got a gig to send out some wines to someone who can't hold a cocktail party for their customers this year because of COVID. So we've been having our heads in the logistics of how to do that. And
Now, next week we're going a bit further north, so we're out of Bicheno. I mean, the Iron House is halfway between Bicheno and St Helens. So next week we're heading right up to St Helens and just a little bit north of St Helens. To Priory Ridge.
Yep, the most northern vineyard in the region.
So we'll be doing a Pinot Noir and a Pinot Gris.
Yep.
From Priory Ridge.
But a Pinot Gris with a difference. So, and a Pinot Noir that's not a typical East Coast Pinot Noir. So,
and we'll be breaking out. I reckon we'll be breaking out the boat shed cheese next week for that tasting.
I reckon we will, because apparently it gets really, really full on flavoured if you leave it for a little while. So, yeah. Hey, thanks for joining us. It's been great to see you again.
We're enjoying this Tempranillo. So if anybody would like if anyone would like us to send them any, either Tempranillo or the Sauv Blanc or any of our wines, either jump onto our website or just give us a ring and we can throw it in. It's free postage for within Tasmania. At the moment, we're still doing free postage for 6 or 12 to Victoria. And just give us a ring, talk to us about what you'd like, and we can do that. In the meanwhile,
feel free to share this with your friends. After last week's, we got contacted by Apsley Gorge, and they said, just wondering, oh yes, the Iron House gin, absolutely, and whiskey and vodka, and we thought, oh my goodness, what have we said wrong? Are we in trouble? But they said that they loved it, and they asked if we would let them share it with their followers. So that was really lovely. We had another little compliment today, which was really heartening. Somebody was in the farm shed who lives in Swansea, and they said, look, I didn't drink wine, but I've been watching your virtual tastings and now I do. So one person at a time, we're going to convert everybody in the world to Tasmania's East Coast wines. Thanks for
drinking in moderation always.
Absolutely. And bon appetit.
Yes, and if you want to, you can find the whole of this video on our Facebook page, on the website through YouTube, or on IGTV. We'll save it to that. So
we love having you people here live, and we also appreciate all of you who watch it after we finish the live event.
So thanks very much. Until we see you next week.
Yeah, arrivederci or ciao,
happy drinking.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.